All right, guys, what's going on? Thank you for joining me as per usual. So let's get the whole 5x5s out of the way. Get that out of the way earlier rather than later. Anyway, Lovejoy, thank you for the 5x5. Appreciate it. Weird. Finley the Dog, WTC, Big John, Up Tech Extreme, Flown Grown, Blackfoot, Dobie, Crystal, Loretta, Maria, Mr. Tank, Run Doc, Chaos, Small, Adriana, thank you for the 5x5. Irresistible Chicken Sandwich, thank you for the 5x5. Nice one. South Florida, Mr. Landfill, Big Chase, Joseph, Jim, Carrie, thank you for the 5x5. Valley, thank you for the 5x5. Winter, Pibble, Jeep Girl, Windflower, thank you for the 5x5. Ozark Prepper, These Aren't, Peter, Janine, thank you for the 5x5. All right, guys, as per usual, thank you. You guys can hear loud and clear. So, Rick, what's going on? Groundhog, thank you for 5x5. So, lag, nothing yet. Already, it's somebody starting. Enough already. Thank you for the 5x5. So, let's get into the show. Try to cut that down a little more and talk on the show about what's going on. So, first and foremost, let's talk about the video that I posted on the Angry Truth. In fact, I wasn't even able to post it. I just uploaded it to YouTube and it got knocked right away. So, with that, guys, yeah. A lot of you saw the video on Rumble. It was about a certain kind of side effect from the arm ticket. So hopefully a lot of you guys got to see that video on Rumble. Engineering, thank you for the thank you for the 5x5. Sorry, thank you for the donations. I appreciate it. Crows, Squeaky, Paul, thank you for the 5x5. Ontario, Buy the Book, Cowgirl, and Jay No More, thank you for the 5x5. And Leon and Johnny D, thank you. My boy works with you. He is trans. Explorer. Which one? My boy works with you. He is trans. I don't know who would you be referring to? Unless you're okay. There's only one that I know of. But anyway, that's cool. Very good. Carry on. So, guys, yeah, that video, like I said, I didn't publish it, and within, I think it was an hour of uploading it, they knocked it. So, and not that I provided enough proof, but I provided articles where I got the video from, and of course they didn't give a shit. So I just deleted it. And in hindsight, I should not have deleted the video. I should have fought it, but I don't know why I deleted it so quickly. It was stupid. I'll never do that again. I'll fight it and then see where it goes. But nonetheless, the Angry Truth will not be up and running for a week. So I think next Sunday, or next Monday or Tuesday, I'll be able to go back on. I don't give a shit. It is what it is. It's just worth mentioning because people are going to tell me that they can't see the channel or whatever it is. So before you go that route, or you see something that, or you can't see the channel, whatever it is, that's the reason why, because they, they saw the video ahead of time and they canceled it. But like I said, I uploaded it to Rumble. Hopefully you guys can see it there. And yes, it's interestingly enough, guys, you can talk about Drag Queen Storytime on Kids' YouTube channel. And yes, they do. They have it. You go on there, you can see all of that bullshit on there. But you talk about something that's actually happening, and YouTube and a couple of other social media sites will sit there and say, oh, that's not true. And it was against their medical misinformation policy. Whatever. Such is life. So it is what it is. And videos moving forward, guys, that are teetering on that line will be moved over to the Angry Prepper Network on Rumble. So on Rumble, I'm uploading both videos. Right? Actually, on Rumble, both videos are being uploaded to both channels are being uploaded to Rumble. So if I release a video on Angry Truth and Angryprepper, both of them get automatically uploaded to the Rumble Angryprepper network. Sorry, but I have the ability to also upload videos individually. No, Rick, I didn't see that, but you can send me the article. I'll talk about that as well. See where that goes. And that video won't come out till next week. So anyway, such is life, guys. When you play around with fire, if you will get burned. And I got burned, but I don't give a fuck. That's the other side of that coin. It is what it is. This, I didn't think that video was going to get knocked because I was doing really good in not mentioning certain things, but they saw the picture that I posted, and that's all they needed to do. So anyway, so yeah, on Rumble, it's the Angryprepper network with both channels on there, or both channels are on there, uploaded videos. If that makes any fucking sense. Right, Catskill NY. So that's the other thing too. They have all of this drag queen and trans bullshit for kids on YouTube Kids, but God forbid you mention some real life shit that's affecting people in a real way, and YouTube's like, pump the brakes, son. You can't talk about that. That's hitting below the belt, and we're gonna have to take your video down. Such is life, guys. That is why, for some of you that remembered, I started the Angry Truth as a sacrificial lamb, because, yeah, right. And I want to be able to talk more about shit like that. So I'll just have to be a little more careful moving forward. And that's been my first strike in about a year, 2 years. So I gotta wait that long. But whatever, it is what it is. So guys, tonight's video, it's titled, Are These Serious Issues? Now, there are a lot of things that are starting to pop up. There are a lot of coincidental situations popping up. And we're going to talk about those things. And maybe, just maybe, I might get a strike on this one. Who knows? We shall see. Anyway, we're going to start out with health officials warning of possible measles exposures at 2 major airports. The exposures occurred at 2 major Washington, D.C. area airports. Health authorities in the District of Columbia and Virginia issued a warning about a possible measles exposures on Tuesday after a person with a confirmed case of highly contagious virus traveled through 2 airports in the Washington metro area. What the fuck was this guy doing? Vacationing? Anyway, Alvin, thank you for the donation. Thank you for the donation, Alvin, for both of them. And Alvin, thank you for all 3 of them. Sorry, I missed the first 2. So anyway, Alvin, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. So yes, guys, if you do not mind signing up for the Angryprepper network on Rumble, that'd be great. Again, I'm going to do more videos on there that are absolutely going to get me canceled on here. Whatever. So anyway, in a release on Tuesday, DC Health said it has been notified of a confirmed case, 1, of measles in a person who traveled through the area airports after returning from international travel. It is said that the threat of transmission is low, but the local health agencies said it is notifying people who were at the airport about their potential exposure, and I'm hoping the people who were on the plane with this guy, obviously. The exact exposure may have occurred at Dulles International Airport in the international arrival area of the main terminal between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. local time on Wednesday, January 3rd, as well as the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport Terminal A between 2:30 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. local time on Thursday, January 4th. What was this guy doing? Fucking sleeping at the airport, making his rounds? Whatever. Anyway, it seems like after Mr. 19, they are gung-ho about notifying us about everything now. It's, someone has a head cold. They're like, did you know that such and such had a head cold? Who gives a fuck? It's measles, man. It'll be handled, I guess for those who are not arm ticketed against the measles, maybe that's going to be an issue. But Montel Dublin, we will be talking about Disease X in a few minutes. Keep your panties on. Anyway, so guys, that's just a bullshit warning about the measles. Every time someone's exposed to something now, they're giving us a warning, and then they like to tell you in the same breath it's low exposure. It's low exposure. It's not even worth mentioning. But nonetheless, the media is going to run with it because that's what they do. They run with anything that sounds interesting these days. So, with that, guys, we're going to talk about the video that I spoke about yesterday more in depth. Right? So, when I do videos on certain subjects, the live stream is going to be more in depth. And then obviously the video is going to be shorter because who wants to listen to me for fucking half an hour explain some shit? So I have to start out with, I did miss a key factor in the virus with the 100% fatality rate. It was the humanized mice, or humanizable mice, or humanized mice, however you want to look at it. These are mice that are designed to support critical research intended to mimic various human immune responses following exposures to Mr. 19, SARS-CoV-2. Now, the humanizable mice, if you will, are the ACE2 NCG mice. These mice were specifically designed for Mr. 19. Keep that in mind in the back of your head when you start seeing this research pop up more and more. These mice were the mice that were used in the 100% fatality virus, right? So these mice, which were again created for SARS-CoV-2, were also used in that study as well. So put that in the back of your head when we start seeing an increase in a Mr. 19 replicant that starts killing people at 100% fatality rate. Anyway, scientists in China experimenting with a Mr. 19 closely related to the virus that caused Mr. 19 found that it had a 100% kill rate in a small mouse study, according to research announced January 4. Now, I was told that this study was done a couple of years ago. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say 2021 or 2020. Anyway, scientists, including a doctor trained by the Chinese military, cloned a pangolin coronavirus and infected modified mice to assess its pathogenicity, said the pre-printed paper that was published in Bio RX5 or RX4, if they're using Roman numerals. I can't, whatever. Of the 4 mice infected with the virus, all began to lose weight after 5 days post-infection. Shortly thereafter, they exhibited symptoms including sluggishness and white eyes. That's pretty interesting. The 4 mice died within 8 days of inoculation. Researchers described the results as surprising. What kills me about the article is where the researchers were surprised at this outcome. Meanwhile, that was the outcome that they were looking for, but somehow said surprising. Somebody just asked me a question. Gunslinger, yes. Pangolin, if I'm saying that right, yes, that's what it was. And I should have done more research on the pangolin, but whatever, I didn't think to look it up. But I'm pretty sure some of you people are going to tell me about it in the comment section. Anyway, researchers then infect 8 more mice, then euthanized them, selected organs from the 4 to analyze. High levels of viral RNA were found in various organs, including the brain, lungs, and eyes. Probably why the eyes turned white. While the viral load in the lungs decreased by the 6th day. It increased in the brain, though. Interesting. So on the 6th day, the viral load increased in the lungs, but increased in the brain. Interesting. This finding suggests that severe brain infection during the later stages of infection may be the key cause of death in these mice. The experiment were on a mutated strain of pangolin virus, also known as GXP2V, short is 3UTR. The results suggest the risk of the virus to spill over into humans, as researchers said. Now, the one thing about these mice that were humanizable, if you will, and we're going to talk about that a little later, this gives them an idea of how it can affect humans, but not how it will. So it's just giving them a better understanding what it can do in the human body, right? It's going to affect the brain, eyes, and lungs. But they still would have to run human test trials on a human being. They would have to run human tests on humans. Whatever, that didn't make any sense. But reason why, because there's still other variables in humans that the mice don't have. So again, it's not 100% guaranteed in humans. It is a higher guarantee in humans rather than lower, if that makes any sense. Now, experts concerned. Justin Kinney, an associate professor at the Simons Center for Quantitative Biology in Cold Springs Harbor Laboratory in the U.S., said research described in the paper does not seem to fall under the category of gain of function because the Chinese scientists did not purposefully enhance the virus to be more pathogenic or transmittable. I'm going to read that last part again. Justin Kinney, Chinese kiss ass, out of the Quantitative Biology at Cold Springs Harbor Laboratory, states that the paper does not seem to fall under category of gain of function because the Chinese scientists did not purposely enhance the virus to be more pathogenic or transmittable, but they made the virus more deadlier. That's why they were directly injected and not had the mice been. They didn't take one mouse to directly inject it and then put it in a cage with more mice to see if it was transmittable, or pathogenic, which is interesting. So it's not a gain of function. But they made it stronger in itself, which means that it's not gain of function, so they don't have any blame if this does get released. This is a fucking game that they're playing, and a game of wording, if you will. You change the wording around, you change the way something is done, and then it doesn't anyway. So again, guys, I find this interesting that now they're already trying to say that this is not a gain of function, so don't blame the Chinese scientists. This is how I'm reading it, and I could be entirely wrong. Though Mr. Kenny then follows up by saying the research is still very dangerous, told Epoch Times via the newspaper. I'm especially concerned that the paper does not say what biosafety level the work was performed at, and the Mr. 19 research in China is often done at a biosafety level, which is biosafety level 2, that is inadequate for working with potential pandemic pathogens that might be transmitted by air. Indeed, Mr. 19 research done at a biosafety lab 2 may have caused the Mr. 19 pandemic, and by showing that the coronavirus has a surprisingly high pathogenic, the work underscores the need for extreme caution when working with novel Mr. 19s. The first Mr. 19 case was detected in Wuhan, near a laboratory that has conducted risky experiments on Mr. 19 viruses, including enhancing the pathogenesis of a bat virus. Some scientists believe that the virus causing Mr. 19 likely originated from a lab, given its history and that fact a year later, a natural origin has yet to be found. Motherfuckers, I shit you not, the way they play with words and the way they just whatever. So now this is the more important part of the study or research, if you will. The Chinese scientists infected genetically engineered mice that have long modified to better mimic humans. The outcomes were not compared with the other viruses such as SARS-CoV-2. That makes it unclear whether the pangolin virus is generally more dangerous than Mr. 19, or if its results are due to specific mice they used, Mr. Kinley said. And it is not at all clear from their results, what might happen where humans become infected with this particular virus that was created. So again, like I told you guys before, just because it was done in humanized mice is not going to be 100% sure if that same outcome is going to happen on humans. And that's what this nerd was saying, Mr. Kinney. Mr. Kinney helped co-found a group called Biosafety Now that advocates for independent oversight in risky experiments. Mr. Tong and his colleagues compared the pathological changes in the mice with those in controlled groups and found no evidence of severe inflammation. They noted They noted these results were consistent with the reports from Shi regarding, and that's SHI as the name of a person, regarding the pangolin Mr. 19 or coronavirus, as well as their previous experiment conducted on golden hamsters and other types of mice. Interesting. The research called for more investigation of the highly pathogenicity of the Mr. 19 and said that their studies offer a distinct alternative model for understanding the pathogenic mechanism of SARS-CoV-2 related viruses. So, of course, guys, again, now we're talking about the 100% mortality rate of this virus. All right. This is going to tie in closely with Disease X, and I'm going to get to that in a few seconds. Now, from MSN was also reporting this as well. Experts discovered that all 4 mice given the virus known as the GXP2V lost significant weight within 5 days of infection. The mice also became lethargic. Their eyes turned white before they died from infection. That'll be interesting to see in humans when you start watching these people develop cloudy eyes, which I'm pretty sure would diminish their vision before they finally keel over. All mice died within 8 days of infection. Post-mortem examination found the virus is spread from the mice's brain, eyes, and lungs. Scientists warned that the virus could potentially infect humans. Could is the key word, and they state this finding suggests that severe brain infection during the later stages of infection may be the key cause of death in these mice. Again, not guaranteed, not 100% guaranteed in humans. To the best of our knowledge, this is the first report showing that a SARS-CoV-2 related pangolin coronavirus can cause a 100% mortality rate in the HACE2 mice. So again, we're going to jump over into the HH2 mice. Now, I already read this part, but I'm going to read it again. The HACE2 mice, NGC mice, are designed to support critical translational research intended to mimic various human immune response following exposures to Mr. 19. Throughout the engraftment of human cells, part of the immune system can be reconstituted prior to Mr. 19 infection. The advanced studies of Mr. 19 infections through human reconstitution could allow for the development of models used to study the mechanism of different immune cells during infections. Again, this doesn't always translate well over to humans, as supposedly they did research or studies using the arm ticket on these mice, stating that these mice did well, when in fact a lot of these mice died. So, according to their research, a lot of the mice died taking the arm ticket, but so did a lot of people, or we're blaming a lot of people did, but not the same outcome. They didn't have the same ratio of mice that died in humans. Just a lot of humans died and a lot of humans got sick. Anyway, these are specific mice, guys, that were genetically designed for Mr. 19. I found that to be interesting because these mice were genetically grown or created very, very fast for to understand Mr. 19 and the arm ticket. So keep that in the back of your head. Now, Disease X, the World Economic Forum creating contingencies plan for infectious virus outbreak. I am going to put the link in the chat, guys, so you guys could take a look at this article as well. Hopefully you So now, attendees of the World Economic Forum in Davos will discuss the prospects of a virus far more potent, than Mr. 19 being unleashed across the world. They are suspecting that the next Disease X will be 20 times more fatal if and when released. The hypothetical virus, dubbed by the World Economic Forum and WHO as a Disease X, has not... Bear with me on the wording on this because it's very on the nose. Hypothetical virus dubbed by the World Health Organization as Disease X has not yet been formed, but scientists and attendees at a global confab said that they will be chatting about the potential pathogen so that they can prepare properly should it ever strike. What in the fuck? The hypothetical virus, with a fresh warnings from the World Health Organization that an unknown Disease X could result in 20 times more fatal than the coronavirus pandemic. What novel efforts are needed to prepare healthcare system for multiple challenges ahead? This is in the World Economic Forum as they were talking about. The session will be led by Tedros, whatever the fuck, I can't pronounce his name, but his first name is Tedros, the Director General of WHO, who oversaw the organization's response to Mr. 19 pandemic, as well as Nissel Trade Lima, Brazil Minister of Health, and Michael Derme, the chair of board of pharmaceutical giants and arm ticket maker of AstraZeneca. Disease X, a placeholder, Disease X, a placeholder name given by WHO to a theoretical virus that has not yet been formed. Again, guys, the wording here is has not yet been formed. They repeat that numerous times through numerous articles, as if, guys, they know that there is or they have a Disease X laying in a cut, just chilling, which I think the Disease X is the 100% fatality virus that they created, that the Chinese created, rather, sorry. So, of course, that article about the 100% fatality virus comes out, and then at Davos, they start speaking about this. Now, a few months ago, they did mention Disease X a couple of times a few months ago that the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum are going to mention. They talked about this numerous times. But now the mainstream media is finally catching on to this. Mr. 19 caused a novel pandemic, was an example of Disease X and how it's also been added to the WHO list. A novel virus is that hasn't been found in humans in the past. Targeting prior pathogens and viruses families for research and development of countermeasure is essential for the fast and effective epidemic and pandemic response. This is Dr. Michael Ryan, an executive director of the WHO's Health Emergency Program. He stated this back in 2022. Without significant R&D, research and development, investments prior to the Mr. 19 pandemic, it would have been possible to have a safe and effective arm ticket developed in record time. There is no arm ticket on this planet that is going to be developed in record time. You still have to do the research. As we saw, guys, they kept stating that the arm ticket is just a base. And it's like taking out, as they put it, a cassette tape and putting a new one in. the fuck out of here. And then watch all the people still got sick, regardless of their analogy of taking a cassette tape and putting a new one in. You still have to be responsible and do the studies, research, and testing behind it. You can't just use that analogy because clearly that fucking analogy didn't work because we're watching a lot of people get sick. Anyway. So this is an instance that they're using. For instance, it took 326 days for the release of the genetic sequence Mr. 19 virus to get an authorization for the first Mr. 19 vaccine, thanks in part to the work done since 2017 in preparation for Disease X. So they were already preparing for this back in 17, a Disease X. And Mr. 19 was their Disease X when it was released. That means, guys, they had spoken about this a long time ago. And, of course, they said red tape got in the way for the ARM ticket. That was the excuse that they were using. And they also wanted to make sure that pharmaceutical companies didn't get in trouble. So they came out with that. They had them protected. So in case people did not make it or get truly sick from an ARM ticket, they were covered. Now, groups like Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness Innovations are supporting rapid response ARM ticket platforms that could develop new immunizations within 100 days of the virus with pandemic potential emergence under a $3.5 billion plan. They got $3.5 billion laying in the cut for the next fucking pandemic that outbreaks. This concept of Disease X was one of the lessons we learned from Mr. 19. And of course, they're going to use that as their scapegoat, if you will. That they were preparing for this back in 2017, yet they tried to rush out a ARM ticket that, again, didn't work. And they are using the mRNA as its base. And any new pandemic that happens, they're going to replace that cassette tape with a new one to fit whatever breakout happens around the world. All right, so be it. And this is how they get the World Economic Forum. So anyway, sorry guys, I'm not looking at the chat, trying to get this out of the way. But anyway, guys, there's definitely, again, the World Economic Forum, they don't hide this shit. Like, they never hide this shit. This is like their wheelhouse, being forefront and open so that people can go, well, listen, we weren't hiding it. We told you that this was going to happen. And no one wanted to listen. That's what they're going to go about. But then you got people like us that just, we're way too wrapped up into this mess, which is rightfully so, right? I mean, we are paying close attention. The rest of the public isn't. So here's how it works, and here's how I'm understanding it. The World Economic Forum, WHO, CDC, has a group of people that pay attention to them, and everyone in the medical field. Boom, they're locked into it. They're paying attention to what's going on. They're looking at this new ARM ticket that's, coming out. They got a new problem that's coming out, a situation coming out, and they're paying attention to that. And then there's us, the prepper community. We're paying attention to this shit as well. We're looking at it closely. We're like, all right, this doesn't make sense. Undoubtedly, something's going to get released. Now, whatever gets released next, guys, we definitely shouldn't sit there and go, it's false, it's fake, it's this, it's that. They want us to say that, and they want us to believe that so that we get infected and die. Because we are the people they do not want to survive. That's what it comes down to. They're going to drum us to be crazy, but at the same time, hope that we don't take the next one serious. If something does happen, something that does get released, we should take it seriously until we find out that maybe it's not, maybe it's false, maybe it's bullshit. And then we respond accordingly. But our first initial response, guys, to the next whatever comes out, we should treat it as serious. And when it's not, or find out that it's not, then we don't, we take a different approach. Sorry. We take a different approach after we find out what it is or isn't. Right? And if it's something very serious, then we stay the course and we keep ourselves quarantined. We stay away from people. We do the proper procedures that are needed to make sure we survive. Because their goal is to knock us the fuck out. That is their goal. But other than that, yeah, listen, guys, and for people who said Mr. 19 was fake, I knew a ton of people, not a ton, but I knew a few people who thought it was fake and got sick, and they were singing a different tune. So again, don't treat it as it's fake. Treat it as it's real, and if it turns out to be fake or turns out to be bullshit, so be it. Trying to see where else we're gonna go with this. All right, so now, again, guys, the World Economic Forum in the forefront of this shit. World Economic Forum applauds low birth rate. So now, for those that might not be paying attention, there is a low birth rate crisis going on around the world, and the low birth rate started to form or started to take notice back in the 1960s. So the low birth rate worldwide, guys, is cut in half from 1950s to now. So back in the 1950s, the birth rate was at 40.99%, which is cut down to 19%. That means 19% of the world is having kids because more and more people or less people are having kids. Or more and more people are not having kids. However you want to look at it. Supposedly, and this is where I take issue with this part, I don't know if it's true or not, but supposedly the birth rate is so low that we are below replacement levels, meaning we will not be able to get ahead or have more kids unless we start telling the generation now, our kids now, and their kids, to have more kids or to be adults and have kids at an earlier age. I think, guys, this whole ideology, and I said this before, I said this years ago, I always disagreed with this. We were teaching kids how to live with their parents longer. And the longer these kids live with their parents, they're less likely to have kids because they want to be kids longer. They also, because they wait longer to have kids, they're having problems having kids. The longer you wait, especially in women, the harder it is to have kids. Right? Because your eggs get all retarded and ugly and weird, or your sperm just fucking starts swimming in circles instead of flying towards sperm because your sperm's also retarded and weird. This is why we're having a low birth rate, and there's other reasons as well. Food, technology, the environment. Those are probably the main reasons why people are having such a hard time having kids. Because of all of that shit. Not to mention the amount of crap we pump into kids when they are born. I think that also plays a gigantic role as well. So with that, guys, and then you also have kids that are on their phones at an earlier age. They're on their iPhones or iPads or whatever it is at an earlier age. We have all this internet throughout all these homes. So we have all of that playing a role as well. Less people are having kids. And I think less people are able to have kids. There is a higher infertility rate as well. The higher infertility rate, I think, comes from technology. And again, the amount of crap we inject into kids. When we were babies, we didn't have a lot of arm tickets to be put into us. But now, we have an absorbent amount of arm tickets to be put in these kids. The United States, I think, being one of the countries with the highest arm tickets to give to kids. So again, guys, that is definitely a problem, but this problem is being seen worldwide. It's a global problem, not just the United States problem, UK, it's all over the world. And Africa is still at a high rate, but they won't be able to cover, if you will, and Arabs, if you will, are also at a high rate of having kids, but they're also dwindling. The Jewish population, they're also dwindling. So I find it interesting, guys, that this problem is worldwide. Now, the WEF applauding low birth rates, according to the WEF, they are, let's see if I can find the quote, if you will. Because I was supposed to, and of course, I took forever to do this, but the WEF states, the WEF states they will actually be, sorry, that this trend will actually be good for general overall overconsumption that we have at the moment and on our planet. So the WEF, guys, applauds this because it will diminish the overconsumption that we have on this planet. So this is probably one of those unintended consequences that the WEF is now pushing. They're just like, man, we didn't see that coming. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they did. Maybe they're the reason why we're pushing all of these arm tickets. I just found out from one of my buddies at work that Mr. 19 arm ticket is on the schedules for kids to get arm tickets. The vaccination schedule has Mr. 19 and RSV on there. So yeah, a lot of those guys' kids are not going to be having kids. Or if not, they're going to have fucking retarded kids licking glass and standing at Walmart greeting people in. Hi, my name is Jared. Thank you for coming to Walmart. That's what's going to happen to the next generation of kids because they're going to be so juiced up out of their minds. And I know, Jared sounds like a fucked up name to name your kids, but nonetheless, that's what you're going to have. Jared and Shannon standing at the doorways of Walmart and Target with their little vest and pin saying, "How can I help you? My name is Jared." Anyway, we're going to see a lot more of that, and we're going to see more infertilities like you wouldn't believe. And the HPV arm ticket, by the way, guys, another big fucking problem. That's making a lot of teenage girls infertile. They don't want to talk about that. That's another video I'm going to put on the Angryprepper network on Rumble. But anyway, it's definitely going to be a problem, and we're definitely seeing the infertility rate from all angles. Now, the World Economic Forum is concerned about people who can govern themselves. Let me read that again. World Economic Forum is concerned about people who can govern themselves. That's us. That's people who can live out on off-grid. They don't like that. They want you to control. The World Economic Forum is all about control. And they have stated that they're worried about people that can govern themselves. I find that to be very interesting. So anyway, guys, this generation of kids and the next generation is less likely to have kids and or wait too long to have kids. Right? So, again, it's definitely a problem. What's going on? The fertility rate, average number of children a woman gives birth to, is failing. If the number fall below approximately 1.2, then the size of the population starts to fall. In the 1950s, women were having an average of 4.7 children in their lifetime. It has dropped well below that, I think. Not well below that, but it cut in half to about 2.1. 2.1 kids per woman having it. Researchers at University of Washington Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation. Why can't they name these universities a lot like shorter title? Why did it have to be a fucking paragraph? Anyway, showed that the global fertility rate halved to 2.4 in 2017. Their study published in Lancet projects projects that it will fall to 1.7 by 2021. Wow, that's a long way off. But all right. So 1.7 birth rate. So that's 1.7 kids per woman by 2021. I think we'll hit that well before 2021, but whatever. Sorry, 2100. I read that wrong. 2100. As a result, researchers expect the number of people on the planet to peak at 9.7 billion around 2064 before falling to 8 billion by the end of the century. That is a pretty big thing. Most of the world is transitioning into natural population decline. This is around the world. I think it's incredibly hard to think it through and recognize how big this thing is. It's extraordinary, and we have to recognize society. We have to reorganize societies. Sorry. Might have to get glasses. Why are fertility rates falling? It has nothing to do with sperm count or the usual things that come to mind when discussing fertility. Instead, it is being driven by more women in education and work, as well as greater access to contraception and leading women to choosing to have fewer children. Bullshit. Again, This article, from what I read, did not mention anything about women having infertility problems, when the infertility rate's a lot higher in men and women. Again, that goes back to environment, technology, and the fact that we are giving people arm tickets they don't need. Anyway, in many ways, failing fertility rates are a success story, meaning that because women are being more successful and they're having less kids and or waiting longer to have kids, which again, they're not saying that. The problem is women wait longer to have kids, they have more miscarriages and retarded children. And I don't think having a retarded children is a bad thing. I'm just saying that that's what they wind up having. They wind up having more Jareds and Shannons. Anyway, which countries will be the most affected? Japan's population is projected to fall from a peak of 128 million in 2017 to less than 53 million by the end of the century. Italy is expected to see an equal dramatic population crash from 61 million to 28 million in the same time frame. There are 2 of 23 countries, which also include Spain, Portugal, Thailand, and South Korea, expected to see their population more than half. Cut more than half. Holy shit. This is jaw-dropping. Professor Christopher Murray told me. China, currently the most populous nation in the world, is expected to peak at 1.4 billion in 4 years, before nearly half to 732 million by 2100. India will take its place. So India's number will continue to go up. The UK predicted a peak at 75 million in 2063 to fall to 71 million by 2100. So China's population cut more than half, from 1.4 billion in 4 years, in the next 4 years rather, to 72. That's a lot. So again, increase of those people dying in 2100, they're going to attribute it to old age, whatever. Now, why is this a problem? You might think this is great for the environment. A smaller population might reduce carbon emission as well as deforestation from farmlands. Of course, the World Economic Forum would think this is a great thing. That would be... So I mentioned Shannon as the retard name, and people are taking issue with it. But a lot of people are like, why would you name Shannon? My name's Shannon. I'm not retarded. I'm joking. Holy shit. People like, some of the people like, Shannon. Why is Shannon a retard name? Or Jared? Why is Jared? Anyway, I was going to say something fucked up, but I'm going to leave it alone. That would be true, except for inverted age structure, more old people than young people, and all of the uniformly negative consequences of an inverted age structure. The study projected the number of under 5 will fall from 681 million in 2017 to 400 million in 2100. The number of over 80-year-olds will soar from 141 million in 2017 to 866 million in 2100. Means we will have more older people on this planet in 2100 than we will of young people in 2100. Professor Murray added, it will create enormous social change. It will make me worry because I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I will wonder what the world will be like when she is in her older age. Who pays the taxes is a massively aged world. Who pays for health care for the elderly? Who looks after the elderly, and and that's the problem they're worried about. A lot of people who are going to be at the older age come close to 2100. None of us will be gone by then. We'll be gone long before that. But those at 2100, who's going to look after them? The 866 million elderly people versus the 401 million young people. That's going to be a problem for those people to deal with because we'll be long gone. Won't be our problem then. It won't even be our kids' problem by then, actually. They'll be long dead, too. The professor argues we need a soft landing. Good fucking luck. We baby the society, guys, into their 30s and 40s. We're having men in their 40s finally have kids. Again, in their 40s, and then looking back and going, shit, my sperm is crooked. It's swimming in circles. It's not implanting in the crooked egg ahead of it, because that egg is also old. And now these people are having a hard time getting pregnant because they waited too fucking long. Again, Jennifer Aniston, she had said the same shit. She waited too long to have kids. Now her eggs are spoiled, old, and like old fucking avocados. Can't get pregnant because she waited too long. Because she was being so successful and enjoying her success, now she looks back on it and goes, fuck, my vagina is dried up. This is going to be a problem for a lot of people because we are driving a world of women today where, yes, successful and success is taking over being a mother. Though there are a lot of women out there who still want to be moms, but there are a lot of mothers out there who now, or potential mothers out there that can't be mothers because their vagina dried up. Looks like an old avocado, right? Anyway, such is life. If we start beating family values back into our kids, we might get ahead of this curve. But as long as we keep telling kids, and women specifically, to be successful and don't worry about motherhood, we're going to run into more of these problems. Not to mention all the other bullshit that we're injecting into our kids these days, and the fact that they're on their phones all the time, they're on their iPads all the time. The environment's not getting any better. 5G is being activated all over the place. Even at 4G, it's still bad. 5G is bad. 4G is still bad, and so is 3. Don't get that shit twisted. It's still bad. We have all of our kids exposed to this shit. This is what happens, and this is what it looks like. It looks like shit. And now the global population is dwindling. Now, of course, in rural areas, we are definitely going to see an influx of kids in those areas, but not enough for them to make a difference for society today. Mom at 41, I would have more. And listen, I know a couple of women in their 40s that would have more. But I mean, the few of us that would have more kids, it's not going to make a difference now. It really isn't. Listen, guys could shoot sperm all day, every day, until they're like dead. Women have a shorter window than men, like a way shorter window than men. And when they enter menopause, it's over. It's game over. Vagina's locked up. Done. So someone said avocado toast. Not where I was going, but anyway. If you pay support, you didn't have a child in the first place. I don't get what Google censorship means by that, but all right. Yes, I'm just too old. Some people are like, I'm just too old. Yeah, listen. Another thing is, a lot of us, like at our age, I don't want to be running around after anybody's fucking kids. Maybe my grandkids, even then, But your own kids running around, fuck that. No, thank you. I'm done. Yeah, having kids keep you young until you have to fucking run after them and you tweak your back. But yeah. And that's the other thing too, guys. For a lot of people with the current arm ticket, again, there's a fertility issue going on. But people don't want to talk about that. There were a lot of women who are having miscarriages as well because of the arm ticket. Nobody wants to talk about that. All of these things add up, right? I'm not saying it's one single thing. I'm just saying that it's a multitude of shit that's coming together and making this a bigger problem, right? I mean, you wish you could blame one thing or the other. You can't. It's a multitude of shit, But whatever. Yeah, 5G's in a global 5G netting, that definitely is going to help. That's fucking no dice. Paint your house with lead paint and make sure you don't eat that lead paint or you have kids eating lead paint because they're going to end up like Jared. But anyway, yeah, guys, a lot of shit going on around. A lot of things are unfolding and seemingly looking like a coincidence when it's not. This is all designed to happen. Listen, I'm just waiting for the big fucking show to start. I'm waiting for the big show to start, and the show's not starting. The show's all late and shit. You know, listen. I am no longer looking at any event that's going to happen and setting my watch to it. A lot of people are setting their watch to an event, and that's not so. We are not going to see this event happen, guys. It just isn't. It's not going to happen when we want it to happen, rather. It's going to happen when we least expect it. Or it's going to be hidden under something else. But whatever's going to happen, whatever bullshit's going to unfold, it doesn't matter. We just need to be ready. I don't give a fuck whether a comet falls out of the sky, whether a fucking spaceship or Jarrett's coming and attacked us and like, thank you for walking Walmart. Even if that happened, it doesn't matter. We need to be ready for whatever happens next. If it's a new arm ticket, if it's a new pandemic or Mr. 19 that's severe, whatever the fuck it is, it doesn't matter. We need to be ready. Period. You know, like I said, guys, the people online, on the internet, on YouTube, on Instagram, Rumble, whatever it is, they sit there and they go, beware of this about to happen. This is going to, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. A lot of that shit doesn't happen anyway. On September 14th of 2024, the such and such apocalypse is going to happen. And then it doesn't happen. The sun's going to implode, then explode, and implode again. February 3rd of this year. It doesn't happen. When anybody gives you a time and date that some shit's going to happen, they are full of dog shit. And they can lick and eat dog shit because they're liars. But that's how they get people onto their channel. They're like, on this date, something specific is going to happen. Meanwhile, nothing happens. Because they don't tell us, they're not telling us, they don't even tell each other. And in fact, it just happens. And when it does, we have to be able to dance to it. But don't set your watch to it because it hasn't happened yet. The economy was supposed to crash 8,000 times from the time we were born to now. Every doomsdayer had a date, and it didn't happen. Again, just be ready. As 3% Prepper says, or 3% of Prepper says, just be as ready as you possibly can. That's all we can do. Listen, you want to follow some fear-mongering channels for entertainment purposes? Fine. Whatever. But don't believe in the bullshit and watch the bullshit. Everything I talk about and I try to talk about is just putting something on your radar. That's it. Whether or not it happens, who cares? Who the fuck cares? If it does, great. If it doesn't, greater. Right? That's all there is. Right? The crash on March 5th, 2024. Everybody's got a date. And it never happened. I mean, listen, again, the stock market was supposed to crash, 8 times between 2021 and now? Fuck out of here. When it does crash, we will be ready. If it doesn't crash, we will still be ready just the same. That's all it is, man. Oh, shit. Anyway, no one's asking for me to father their kids. My son's mother likes to be a smartass at the wrong time. She is such a pain in the ass. But she is also my pain in the ass, so whatever. Anyway, guys, with that being said, watch the bullshit. Don't fall for the bullshit at all. Just be ready. That's all we can do. And on a smaller note, we need to be ready with these bad weather scenarios that are happening, that are unfolding in front of us. There's not tsunamis. Avalanches happening left and right. There are these snow squalls coming out of nowhere. Just be fucking ready. That's all you can do. That's all we can do. Anyway, guys, with that being said, I'm going to go off the air now. There is no Angry Truth tonight because YouTube said fuck you. They were like, you were telling some kind of factual truth or raising a question of something that's a possibility, and they told me to go fuck myself. So it is what it is. I'm not worried about losing the money, anything like that. It just sucks that I can't post certain videos, but I am going to post them on Rumble, so hopefully you guys join me on Rumble. I hope so. Is the other, yes, Yardburst, the Angry Truth is still in jail. They're not going to free me for a week, but whatever, it is what it is, guys. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. I'll be back on the Angry Truth next week, or maybe not next week because I'll be in Vegas. I will be in Vegas starting Saturday. I will have another Angry Truth video this Thursday, and I will have one Angry Prepper. Sorry, we'll have an Angry Prepper this Thursday. No Angry Truth this Thursday, but I will have an Angry Prepper also in Vegas for a walkabout around Vegas if I can. Anyway, guys, with that being said, thank you for joining me. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for following me. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit. And I will see you guys later.